Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the January Nutrition Support Monthly Call. My name is Misty Woods, and I'll be leading today's monthly call. So let's first talk about the memos that have been posted since the last monthly update. Let's start with Memo SFS 24-16. It's the revised crediting for tofu and soy yogurt products in the school meals programs and CACFP, as well as summer feeding. This memo provides updated guidance on crediting the tofu and soy yogurt products in the child and adult care food program and extends previous guidance on crediting for tofu and soy yogurt products to the summer food service program, as well as to the infant meal pattern in the CACFP. This memo supersedes Memo SP 53-2016 and CACFP 21-2016. Memo SFS 24-17 is the CNP Integrity Final Rule for AR and Food Service Management Company review cycles. This memo provides additional information regarding the 5-year review cycle provisions that were codified in the Child Nutrition Program Integrity Rule that was published on August 23rd of this year. These provisions have a compliance date of July 1st, 2024, and provide states an option to implement a 5-year school meal program administrative review cycle and the option to also align the Food Service Management Company review with the AR review cycle. The option for the 5-year review cycle is intended to ease the administrative burden for state agencies and SFAs while maintaining integrity in the programs by allowing state agencies to focus their efforts on high-risk SFAs. State agencies that choose a review cycle longer than 3 years are required to identify these high-risk SFAs and provide additional oversight to these SFAs. So state agencies must conduct a targeted follow-up review of any SFA designated as high risk within 2 years of the initial administrative review. State agencies that review SFAs on a longer than 3-year review cycle must also develop a plan for food nutrition services approval, describing the criteria that will be used to designate high-risk SFAs that are subject to targeted follow-up reviews. And we'll talk more about this later in the presentation. So Memo SFS 24-18, the CNP Integrity Final Rule State Agency Discretion for repeat meal pattern violations fiscal action. So the Integrity Final Rule also amended 7 CFR 210.18I2 to provide state agencies discretion in determining whether to assess fiscal action against school food authorities when they find repeat violations of the milk type or vegetable subgroup requirements during an administrative review. With this change to the regulations, the only required fiscal action for meal pattern violations is when there are missing food components or missing production records. For all other meal pattern violations, state agencies can decide whether fiscal action is warranted based on the specific circumstances of the review. But please note that the provision was effective on September 24th, 2023, so it is applicable to the administrative reviews that state agencies are conducting this school year. While the vast majority of SFAs strive to make a good faith effort to comply with the meal pattern requirements, FNS recognizes that some SFAs may need additional support to fully and correctly execute the meal pattern. So rather than requiring state agencies to fiscally penalize those SFAs, the change made through the final rule allows state agencies to consider each unique situation and determining whether non-compliance can be addressed with only technical assistance and corrective action. In other situations, after providing technical assistance and requiring a corrective action and still finding non-compliance, fiscal action may be warranted. So Memo SFS 24-19, the October 2023 Medicaid free lunch and Medicaid reduced lunch files were loaded into eScholar Direct Match. Districts should resolve any near matches in the matches below. So, public school districts is Medicaid free lunch number 7246, Medicaid reduced lunch 7253, and for non public schools, Medicaid free lunch number 7258, and Medicaid reduced lunch number 7269. And as always, if you need assistance, please email Jane. Memo SFS 24-20, it's the November 2023 SNAP and TANF, has been loaded to eScholar Direct Match as well. You need to resolve any near matches. Public school, it's going to be SNAP batch number 7279 and TANF batch number 7280. And for non-public is SNAP batch number 7281 and TANF batch number 7284. And again, please email Jane if you need assistance with this. Memo SFS 24-21 is to register for the Healthy Meals Incentive Informational Webinar, the Innovation in the Preparation of School Meals Award. As part of the cooperative agreement to develop and implement the USDA Food and Nutrition Services Healthy Meals Incentive Initiative, Action for Healthy Kids, it's offering a recognition awards to celebrate SFAs that have made significant improvements to the nutritional quality of their school meals. The recognition awards will spotlight innovative practices, student and community engagement activities, and strategies schools have used to provide meals that are consistent with the 2020 through 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans. Actions for Healthy Kids hosted this HMI Recognition Award webinar on December 13th to guide school food authorities through the application process for the Innovation in the Preparation of School Meals Award. Information shared will also be beneficial when applying for any of the awards. The webinar provided illustrative examples of the materials and documentation that must be uploaded. A webinar recording will be available on the HMI Recognition Awards website. Memo SFS 24-22 is the January 2024 trainings. The only training scheduled for January is today's monthly call. And just as a reminder, all training recordings and slides are posted within a week after the live presentation on Louisiana Fit Kids website. So Memo SFS 24-23 is about the Louisiana Farm to School Institute launching in spring 2024. The Louisiana Farm to School program team is gearing up for the Farm to School Institute, which is launching in the spring. Team applications are due January 26th, and in preparation, the Seeds for Success team will be hosting a live question and answer session. They had one on Monday, December 18th, and they are having another one today, and I believe it's at 3 p.m. 3:30, I'm sorry. The Louisiana Farm to School Institute is a unique professional learning opportunity for selected school, early childhood, and district teams from across Louisiana. It's a whole school professional development model that builds capacity in school communities to create a culture of wellness, improve food access, engage students, and strengthen local food systems. Some benefits of participation include Farm to School Action Plan, networking with peers, coaching, skill building, multidisciplinary teams, and scholarships and incentives. For SFAs interested in applying to participate in the Farm to School Institute, for more information, please visit the Farm to School Institute and Seeds to Success websites. Memo SFS 24-24, it's the USDA webinar. Its registration is open for non-congregate meal service implementation in SFSP and SSO. So on December 29, 2022, President Biden signed the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2023. The act included significant policy changes for child nutrition programs, including the authorization of a permanent non-congregate meal service through the Summer Food Service Program and the Seamless Summer Option for rural areas with no congregate feeding meal service. FNS anticipates that the summer EBT and the rural non-congregate summer meals option interim final rule will be published in late December, in which it was. In anticipation of this final rule, FNS plans to host an implementation webinar for summer meal sponsoring organizations and program operators on non-congregate summer meal service for rural areas this Thursday, January 11th, from 2 to 3:30, and that's Eastern Time. Registration link is available on this slide and on this memo. And this webinar is going to include a time for question and answers from the audience. And this webinar will be recorded and made available on the FNS website at a later date. So please go register if you want to learn more about the non-congregate meal service. Memo SFS 24-25 is about the November Medicaid free lunch and Medicaid reduced lunch files loaded to eScholar. So the November Medicaid lunch free for public school districts is file number 7320. Medicaid reduced is 7321. For non-public, the Medicaid free is going to be 7325, and the Medicaid reduced lunch is going to be 7336. And again, please email Jane if you have any questions or need assistance. So the memo SFS 24-26 was a reminder about the 2023 NSLP equipment assistant grants for SFAs. As we talked about before, FNS distributed $30 million provided by the Consolidated Appropriations Acts of 2023 to state agencies to competitively award equipment assistant grants to eligible school food authorities participating in the National School Lunch Program. The Equipment Assistant Grant will be especially effective in supporting SFAs by enabling them to meet equipment needs, which have continued to experience supply chain disruptions in operating school food service. FNS provided a proportional share of funds to state agencies. Louisiana was awarded or allocated a total of $597,597 for administration and distribution to SFAs as equipment grant award funding. Funding will support SFAs in the purchase of equipment for the purpose of serving healthier meals, support scratch cooking, improving food safety, expanding storage for fresh food, upgrading equipment, and supporting the establishment's maintenance and expansion of the school breakfast program. Grant applications are available online through the Child Nutrition website. The application was made available on December 4th of 2023, and then the deadline to submit is January 31st, 2024. Just a reminder that access to the online equipment grant application is restricted to the designated CNP administrator, so it's either going to be the superintendent or the authorized rep that are listed on the permanent agreement. And we're going to discuss more in detail the 2023 grant in later slides. So now let's talk about some reminders and some updates. So first, let's talk about the verification summary form. It's a very important topic as the deadline to submit this form is tomorrow. We still have several SFAs that have not submitted the form. It is important that these forms are submitted on time because we have to generate a report from the form submitted, and then we have a deadline to submit that report to USDA. So we've been having some conversations, and we're kind of talking about that if deadlines are not going to be met by SFAs, we may be requiring some corrective action plans. So the verification summary form, or the FNS 742, is the last step in the verification process. Verification begins on October 1st and should be completed by November 15th. This is the last step that needs to be completed as soon as the verification activities are completed, but must be submitted to the state agency via the CNP website no later than tomorrow, January 10th. It's always a good idea to complete the verification summary form prior to the deadline so that we as a state agency have adequate time to review your information and make corrections as needed. Please contact us if you have any questions about the verification process or the verification summary form. So next, I'm going to briefly go over and summarize how to complete the form, but please refer to the recording and slides from the December 12th training on the verification summary form for more detailed instructions. So under the verification summary tab, you're going to click on View Form. And the FNS 742 verification report has 5 separate sections and is completed in a 3-step process. So in step 1, you will complete sections 1 through 5 and section M, which was newly added section last year that captures the number of free and reduced directly certified Medicaid students. And since Louisiana is part of the Medicaid demonstration project, it is important that these numbers are reported in section M. We are having the most issues with this section as SFAs are either not reporting the Medicaid numbers or reporting 0, which requires us to follow up with the SFA to make the necessary correction. And in step 2, you will run validations, which will check your data for errors according to a USDA set of rules. And then in step 3, you will submit your data to the state agency. Please note that all SFAs participating in the National School Lunch Program and the School Breakfast Program, including residential child care institutions that did not conduct verification, must complete specific sections of this report. Previously, RCCIs were exempt from this report. In addition, schools utilizing the community eligibility provision must complete applicable portions of the form. Sections 1 through 5 are completed differently according to which type of SFA is reporting. So you have traditional school systems, which are those SFAs that utilize free and reduced price applications. You have system-wide CEP systems. You have partial CEP systems, which are those that are a mixture of CEP and non-CEP schools. You have RCCIs without day students and RCCIs with day students. And depending on your SFA type will determine how you need to complete the form. Again, please refer to the recording and slides from the December 12th training on the verification summary form for more detailed instructions. When all sections in step 1 are marked as completed, you may proceed to step 2, run validations. In step 2, you will click on Validate Data to run USDA's validations. Their validations are a series of formulas with common errors USDA has identified to ensure your data is accurate. Please note that each section must say marked as complete in order to be able to proceed with the next step. If the Validate Data button is grayed out, you will need to go back to the section or sections that are not marked complete. Clicking Validate Data will run your form through USDA's validations. If there are any errors, they will show up here. All errors must be corrected in their respective sections prior to submission. If you don't understand the error or errors that are on display, please contact the state agency who can help you resolve the error. And then in step 3, you click on Click for Submission. And then next, you click on the checkbox circled in aqua for the latest verification process, and then next, click Submit. So now let's talk about the 2023 equipment grant. So the equipment grant online application date. So it opened on December 4th, 2023, and it will close on January 31st, 2024. The notification of awards will take place by March 25th. The award notification will include the amount of the grant and detailed instruction on how to request funding. So SFAs must obligate funds by September 30th, 2024 by either sending in a purchase order or invoice. And then SFAs must also submit a request for reimbursement by October 21st, 2024. Most people do it at the same time, but there are 2 specific deadlines, but most people turn in the purchase order and the request for reimbursement at the same time. All SFAs participating in the National School Lunch Program are eligible to apply for any sites that have not received an equipment grant award in the past and have a demonstrated need where a greater percentage, at least 50% of enrolled students qualify for free or reduced price meals. So only the sites that are eligible for the 2023 grant will be listed. And please note that prior year data is used for the 2023 grant. So occasionally it may change from year to year if a site is eligible based on free and reduced eligibility if the site is close to 50%. When scoring grant applications for award, the state agency must give priority to SFAs with sites demonstrating the greatest need. So sites with higher free and reduced percentages will receive the greatest priority in scoring. Responses in accordance with the goals defined in the USDA memo will increase the likelihood of an award. Sites which have received NSLP equipment grant award funding in prior years are ineligible and will not be considered for the grant. In order to complete and submit online site applications for the equipment grant, you're going to start by logging into the CNP website. And on the left green sidebar, click on Equipment Grants, which will allow a drop down of grant applications by year. And then next, you're going to click on the 2023 Applications tab. And then when opening the application site, only eligible sites should appear in the new application screen. The green bar at the top illustrates that new applications are currently being accepted. Request 1 should be the equipment with the greatest need because request 1 will be prioritized first for award purposes across SFAs and site. So you're going to click Create to open the request application. Questions 1, 3, and 5 include the sponsor's name, site name, and application request number will automatically populate into the online application. Questions 6, 7, and 8 will also automatically populate. These numbers include enrollment, the percentage of free and reduced eligible students, or the site level ISP times 1.6, as well as the school's average daily lunch participation. While those questions will auto-populate, questions 2 and 4 must be answered. These questions are related to whether or not your SFA has received an equipment grant in the past or if this site received an equipment grant in the past. If your SFA received a grant in the past, but the site has not received the equipment grant in the past, that site is still eligible for the award. The question regarding whether your SFA received a grant in the past helps with tie-break scoring. Preference will be given to those SFAs that have not received a grant in the past if more than one SFA site application is scored the same as the result of the applications. Question 9 is the name of the equipment item you would like to purchase for the award. Question 10 is the name of the equipment item that will be replaced, the age of the equipment to be replaced, and the inventory tag number if you have that. And question 11 is the cost of the equipment item to be purchased. So please fill in the answers for these 3 questions and remember that if you receive an award for this site for this piece of equipment, you cannot change your mind and request a different piece of equipment in place of what you planned and entered into the application. So think ahead and talk to your site managers before determining the optional piece of equipment by site that you would like to apply for. Question 12 asks what dollar amount is requested from the Federal Equipment Assistance Grant to purchase the equipment item. And question 13 asks what the current fund balance is for the school food service account. Question 14 requests the percentage of matching funds that are going to be expended by the school or school system for the equipment requested for the award. So for example, if the general fund will support 50% of the cost of the equipment requested and C&P funds will cover the other for 50%, you would click on 40 to 59%. Question 15 allows you to choose the focus area for the purchase of the equipment. You may choose one focus area, several, or you can choose all of them. Question 16 requests a description of the intended use of the equipment to be purchased, including how each focus area will be supported by the purchase of the equipment requested. Question 17 asks how quickly the school system expects to be able to expend the funds, which should always be 6 months or less for the purposes of this grant. When deciding on the equipment to purchase, please consider your timeline if you are purchasing this equipment that requires the school board approval or if it is part of a larger project that will take considerable time or the amount of time is unknown. The goal is to complete procurement procedures and be able to provide a purchase order or invoice for equipment to the state agency within 6 months or less. So remember to consider the scope of the project when determining what equipment to purchase to fulfill the focus of this grant. Under the application is a certification statement. Please read the certification carefully and ensure that all application questions reflect accurate information prior to clicking the Submit button. After submission, the application is closed and no edits may be performed on that application. When submitting the online application, please note that each site application must be submitted individually. Also, an application will not successfully submit if there are identified errors. After January 31st, 2024, the online application process is closed and no more applications will be accepted after that date. A red bar at the top of the online application will show that application submission is closed. So we've already mentioned this, but we want to talk about the active SAM registration again. So, in accordance with the federal regulations at 2 CFR Part 25, Louisiana Department of Education may not make an award to an entity until the entity has complied with the requirements to maintain an active SAM registration. So, in order to continue operating the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program, the organization must have an active SAM registration. SFAs will receive an email notifying you that your organization has a SAM registration that is expiring. So you will be asked to forward that documentation indicating that the organization has a valid SAM registration. So let's briefly talk about administrative reviews. So, as mentioned at the previous state update in November, we are working on the administrative review cycle. However, it is taking us longer than expected to complete due to the Child Nutrition Program Integrity Final Rule. Our plan is to implement the 5-year cycle, so it is a work in progress, but it will take us some time to have it finalized. Hopefully, it will be soon, though. The Child Nutrition Program Integrity Final Rule, as we talked about in a previous memo, provides states with an option to implement a 5-year school meal program's administrative review cycle and the option to also align the Food Service Management Company review with the AR review cycle. State agencies that choose a review cycle longer than 3 years are required to identify those high-risk SFAs and provide additional oversight to those SFAs. So state agencies must conduct a targeted follow-up review for any SFA designated as high risk within 2 years of the initial administrative review. State agencies that review SFAs on a longer than 3-year review cycle must also develop a plan for FNS and get their approval. And we have to describe the criteria that will be used to designate the high-risk SFAs that are subject to targeted follow-up reviews. We must submit the plan to our respective regional office for review and approval that outlines the criteria that will be used to designate an SFA high risk. So we have come up with a 5-year cycle, but we're now in the process of identifying the high risk plan and getting that approved by FNS. but we hope to get to release that to y'all very soon. So next we will discuss a few reminders about health inspections. So it is the responsibility of the school food authority to request 2 food safety inspections from their local sanitarian office and document their efforts. For those agencies that fail to obtain the 2 mandatory food safety inspections, LDOE will request documentation from those sponsors to show that they have made every effort to comply with the federal requirements. SFA should document their request in writing for proper documentation of their efforts to obtain the inspections. Health inspections must be added to the CNP website. And as a reminder, to add the site and health inspection to the CNP website under the green School Food Service tab, you click on Site Health Inspection. And then you click on the plus sign next to the site that need inspection dates added. And then you put the date of the inspection. It actually asks you if you know the date, and you select yes from the drop-down box. And then click OK. And then you're going to select calendar to insert the site inspection date or the type date in the field. When typing in the date, don't add zeros to the front of the number, because if you do, the information will not save. And then you're going to click the blue check mark to save. And then just a few reminders for your March claim for reimbursement. A reminder will appear prior to submitting the claim, asking if there are any current year health inspections that need reporting in the CNP website, and a response must be provided. And then for your April claim for reimbursement, the sponsor users will not be allowed to submit claims beginning in April until the health inspection reporting has been done for each NSLP approved site. If both have not been completed, be sure to contact the local health department regarding completion of this remaining required inspections and document this on the CNP website. So next we're going to go over some upcoming trainings. So February 6th will be the next monthly call. And March 6th, we will have our next in-person state update at Pennington. So we're not going to have a monthly call in March. And you can register for the trainings at Louisiana Fit Kids website. So please note these dates for the upcoming Summer Food Service Program trainings. So on February 21st, we will have the Summer Food Service Program training for returning sponsors, and that's going to be in person at the Louisiana Department of Education. That's at the Claiborne Building in Baton Rouge. So again, that's February 21st. February 28th will be the Summer Food Service Program training for prospective sponsors, so new sponsors. And that's also going to be in person at LDOE. And then March 7th will be a repeat training for returning sponsors, and that will also be in person. And we are still working on getting those agendas together, but those should be posted on Louisiana Fit Kids soon so that you can register. The Louisiana Farm to School Seeds to Success program is putting on a local food for schools purchasing training on February 8th from 1 to 2. This will be a virtual meeting via Teams, and the registration will be posted soon on Louisiana Fit Kids. And the goal of this training is to provide background of the local Food for Schools cooperative agreement, is to discuss funding timeline and to discuss SFA options for spending dollars. We do have a potential upcoming ICN in-person training. We have sent a request to ICN for dates in May or June, and we are awaiting a response from ICN. We requested the Introduction to School Nutrition Leadership training. And this training is a 4.5 day training, which is 30.5 hours with the course content divided over 5 days. The training is intended for new CNP directors, but we encourage anyone who feels they need the training to register and attend the training. And we need a minimum of 25 participants in order to have the training. The lessons include the overview of the school nutrition programs. They define the role and responsibilities of a director and review the relationship between local policies and state and federal regulations. So as soon as we hear back from ICN and the dates, we will definitely send out a memo to where you can register, and we hope that many people that are interested in this will be able to attend. There are some Louisiana Festival of Flavor culinary trainings for school nutrition professionals. They actually had one in Bow Chase yesterday. Um, Tomorrow and Thursday, they will be in Baton Rouge. And on Tuesday, February 20th, they will be in Union Parish in Farmerville. And you can register for these on the Louisiana Fit Kids websites. National School Breakfast Week is March 4th through the 8th. The theme is Surfs Up with School Breakfast. National School Breakfast Week celebrates the importance of a nutritious school breakfast in fueling students for success. And this special observance during the first week of March celebrates the National School Breakfast Program. In many ways, it gives kids a great start every day. Louisiana Lunch Week is March 11th through the 15th. The theme is Louisiana Festival of Flavors. It's the chance to show off Louisiana food products and prepare newly developed team nutrition recipes. And for more information on Louisiana Festival of Flavors, please go to Louisiana Fit Kids websites. You can see the recipes that have been developed. And lastly, I would like to go over the Division of Nutrition Support, some team updates. So on this slide is the staffing update in the Division of Nutrition Support. Couple of things to note since the last staffing update. We now have interviewed for the administrative specialist position and the education consultant positions. The paperwork is now with Human Resources. We're just waiting to hear back from them. One more thing to note is that the agency delimited the part-time staff positions that was assigned to our division that was effective December 31st. So we no longer have Janet or Wayne Dupree as our part-time education consultants. I know they did a lot of technical assistance to a lot of you, as well as a lot of work in the summer. So yes, they will be missed. However, we did not have a say-so in this. So we no longer have those two as of December 31st. And then on this slide is the list of the Division of Nutrition Support contacts. Like we always say, we still have staff transitioning into new positions and learning new roles, especially now with losing two people. You know, we have more people that are out in the field providing technical assistance, and we're actually doing some family daycare home visits and on top of the schools. So it may be difficult sometimes to reach a particular staff member to get your questions answered in a timely manner. So please, please utilize that main email address and that main phone number on the screen. I'm actually encouraging SFAs to use that because it goes out to several staff members so you can get your questions answered faster. And if you call the main number, your call can be directed to a staff member that is actually in the office that day that can answer your questions. So with that, I will open up to see if anybody has any questions in the chat. You can always contact us at childnutritionprograms@la.gov, or you can call us at 225-342-9661. So give me a minute and I will check to see if we have any questions in the chat box. At this time, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box. I do also want to mention that we did finally receive the well ahead PowerPoint presentation that was at the state update. We're sending that to Pennington to get posted. It may have already been posted. I haven't checked. But we added an extra slide to it with all the resources that she provided. So I know some of you were asking for that presentation. It has been sent to Pennington and it may have already been posted. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check for y'all. All right, still no questions in the chat. So I just want to remind everyone, please, 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 if you have not done so already, please complete your verification summary form. Many of you maybe have received an email or a phone call from Kylie. She is the person that's been leading the verification. Please, please get that submitted because we have a deadline that we need to submit to USDA. And if you have questions, please reach out. With that, I will let everyone go. I hope you have a good rest of your afternoon, and we will see you on the next call. Thank you.